Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. It seems like it was a great time for me to return because just a couple of days after I started recording videos again, FIDE have dropped a bombshell on the chess community, and they have changed the FIDE World Cup for 2027. Breaking news as of a few hours ago, they've released a new format for the World Cup that'll be happening next year. Obviously, Yokivar Sindarov won the last World Cup last year in 2025. He qualified for the candidates through that World Cup success and will now challenge for the World Championship after winning the candidates. Spoilers if you haven't been following the chess community for the last little bit. So there's a lot to talk about, like really a lot. So we're going to begin with the FIDE article. That'll go over the changes, and then we're going to look at the live Twitter reaction because chess Twitter is not happy about this whatsoever. You and I will look at that together, and I'll give you my thoughts as I read through this. I'm reading through this for the first time as well. I saw the news, and I've seen a little bit of what the Twitter community has said about it. So, FIDE Council approves new format for the 2027 World Cup and Women's World Cup. Okay. The FIDE Council has approved a series of significant changes to the format of the 2027 FIDE World Cup and 2027 Women's World Cup, following recommendations from the Global Strategy Commission. They aim to make the competition more inclusive, improve the experience for players, reduce the overall duration of the event. This has been one of the biggest criticisms of the World Cup. It is a phenomenal event. It was a straight knockout competition. Obviously, we'll read the changes now, but as it says here late in the article, it ran for a month. 27 days was the last World Cup. 27 straight days of chess, because you play a classical game, you come back the next day, you play the second classical game, then you come back a third day and you play tie breaks. So it's 3 days to get through every round, and there were like 9 rounds. Obviously everyone was seeded. There were 128 players, and it's a straight knockout competition. So because it was so huge, you had to go through lots and lots and lots of rounds. And the way the format worked, it didn't work so well. What I would have done, and we'll look at what they did do, instead of playing one classical game a day, you play 2 classical games, and then you play your tie breaks the next day. And that will reduce each round to 2 days, and you've lost, like a ninth of the competition or something. I can't do maths. You've lost a third of the competition. You've cut it in 3. So instead of 27 days, it would have been, 18 or something like that. You would have lost like 9 days. So it would have been much easier. So let's see what they've done. So since adopting the knockout format in 2005, the FIDE World Cups have been one of the most prestigious events on the international calendar. Over the past 2 decades, the tournaments have expanded considerably, growing from 128 players to 206 players in the Open, and from 64 to 103 players in the women's event. At the same time, the expansion has presented new challenges. By 2025, the World Cup had reached 27 days in duration, making it increasingly difficult to fit into the international chess calendar. Not only that, it's a month away for players. It is really expensive. Because you're entering the competition, you're preparing for the competition, but if you're not local to the area, you're staying in a hotel for a month in a foreign country, if you're not a local player, and you can go out at any point, so you can't even necessarily book a return unless you're just going to be there for the whole month. Some players end up doing that. They're like, well, I may not win it, but I don't know which round I'm going to get knocked out in. So what FIDE have done, we can see a new 2-stage format. Beginning 2027, both World Cups will be played over 19 days, so a little under 3 weeks, and will consist of 2 distinct stages. Stage 1, a Swiss qualification. The opening stage will consist of a Swiss system tournament played with a fast classical time control of 45 minutes plus 30-second increment. Look, there has been a push in the last little bit to move to faster classical chess. I think FIDE have been talking about it. Because people are getting really bored. And this should allow you to play more games. Because this should be the whole idea. If you can play fast classical, you can play 2 games a day. 2 or 3 games a day. The open pool will feature 4 Swiss pools. So the players aren't going to be one big thing. They're going to be in 4 pools. While the Women's World Cup will be divided into 2 Swiss pools. Each Swiss tournament will be played 9 rounds across 5 days. That's what I was saying. With the pools balanced to ensure comparable playing strength. Now, on a side note, I know these are professional chess players and the standard they play is very high. When I played SA Open last year, look, we did play 1 game a day, but that was during the week. On the weekends, we played 2 games where we had a game in the morning, and it was, 90 minutes plus 30-second increment, a normal classical time control, and then we played another 90-minute plus 30-second time control in the afternoon. You begin your first round at 9 a.m., and then you begin your second round at like 2 p.m., 3 p.m. I don't think we started much later than that. It was like 2 or 3 p.m. depending. So the leading players from each pool will then advance to the knockout stage. So the Open World Cup, top 4 players from each of the pools, so 16 players total. Women's World Cup, top 8 players. The knockout stages. The second stage will retain the traditional knockout. The round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, and final will be played using the existing World Cup format and classical time controls. A rest day will separate the Swiss and knockout stages, with 2 additional rest days scheduled during the knockout phase. By combining a Swiss qualification stage with the traditional knockout finals, FIDE preserves the excitement and prestige of the World Cup while providing every participant with significantly more games and a better overall tournament experience. That is the hope. This is something Freestyle Chess did, where they played a bunch of games to determine seeding, and it was in a fast time control. I think it was rapid, and then they went into longer games, which were at first classical games, and then I think they became just like longer rapid games or fast classical games. So it's an interesting idea. There might have been a better way to do this. I made a suggestion earlier, but maybe they could have done something. So this is the overall graphic that explains it. So number of participants, they're expecting 224 players, an increase from 206, a prize fund now of 2.3 million. The duration, though, that is the big thing, 19 days. Minimum number of games per player is now 9 games, where previously it was only 2. So you are going to be guaranteed to play more chess games, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Guaranteed qualification spots per continent is 7. So guaranteed each continent is getting 7 players. So there'll be 7 African players. That'll be really cool. Women's World Cup, from 103 players to 128. From 0.676 thousand, I would assume, to 1 million USD. 23 days to 19. Also now from 2 games to 9 games, but now guaranteed qualification spots from 3 up to 6, which is interesting. You can see it's expanded. Several new qualification pathways have been introduced. The top 4 finishers in the most FIDE Grand Swiss and FIDE Women's Grand Swiss will qualify directly for their respective World Cups. I can't remember who won those. You'll have to forgive me. I think the Open, it was like Anish Giri and Matthias Blubom. I think that's how they qualified through that to get to the candidates. The winner of the 2026 Total Chess World Championship will qualify for the World Cup. Great. Magnus Carlsen going to qualify for the World Cup. Qualification through the FIDE circuit has been introduced for both the Open and Women's World Cups. The number of qualification places allocated to continents has been increased. A new qualification place has been introduced for the highest rated senior player. Enhanced value for participants, so they've increased, the total prize money. Prize money will continue to be awarded to every participant. So even if you go there, you finish last, you lose all your games, you're getting some money, it seems, with increased prizes for players finishing in the lower places compared to the 2025 editions. So every participant getting money. Now remember, this sounds great. But you're now there for longer, guaranteed, because you're going to have to be there for 5 days or something, a week, to play your 9 games. So you're hoping that the prize money that you make, depending on where you finish, covers your travel, your accommodation, and your training leading up to that event, and then you're walking away with a profit that you can then use. Remember, chess players, as much as we're watching the competition, they also have to make money. So this is the thing, preserving tradition while preparing for the future. This is what the FIDE president had to say. The new format has been designed to preserve the unique identity of the FIDE World Cup while adapting it to the evolving needs of modern chess. We believe the combination of the Swiss qualification and knockout finals will offer a more engaging experience for both players and fans. Well, let's see what the fans have to say. So we're going to click onto the Twitter post, because Twitter is the best place to go for this kind of thing. Let me just refresh the tab because I opened it a little while ago. And we're going to see. I've sorted this in a weird way. It's not the most relevant comment. It is the most liked comments. So the first one, ha ha ha, keep finding new ways to kill the sport. just watering down the integrity of classical chess and taking away one of the best events on the chess calendar, as it was known. Change for the sake of change is not progress. This does not hold the standards we need for World Championship cycle and its future. They're ruining the World Cup, damn it. Now remember, these aren't liked a lot, like 22, 11, 3, 2. Everyone in the top 10 except Gukesh and Keimer prefers rapid or blitz. I know that even MVL would like to see 30 plus 30, no increment considered classical. The game has evolved so much that, of course, they can play flawless games in 30 minutes. It's time for the purists to wake up. Good decision. Chess would be better if they're not happy with FIDE. Classical time control should be 1 hour plus 1 minute increment. 1 minute of increment! Wow. Okay. Absolutely terrible decision. Boo. A bit upset about the change to fast classical, but I welcome the Swiss part personally. Utter work nonsense. Drop in that Sean Deitch meme. What if I queen but want to remain a pawn? Got no idea. And then this thing. So now we're going to go onto my Twitter thing. I've got like a chess specific list. So we're going to go onto that and just have a look and see what the big voices saw. I saw Anish Giri said something, so Chess.com posted here. That's just the thing. Here's Anish Giri. He's the only one I've seen so far post about this. I'm sure more will do so in the future. I understand the reasoning behind all these changes, but dropping this on the chess community without any warning is bound to lead to some backlash. What can you do? Anish Giri saying something. Mr. Dodgy saying something. Oh, yeah. Arturs Neiksans obviously said something. Yeah, here he is. While I find the fast classical to be a good idea, in my honest opinion, the Swiss pools feel weird for a knockout tournament. With the fast classical, FIDE could have organized early stages in just one day, also shortening the length of the tiebreak. That's what I said. Kind of. It was a similar idea. Perhaps one of the ticket... I don't know what that is. This is Susan Polgar. I know Mr. Dodgy did have something. Here it is. Okay. So one of the best classical events is being downgraded to rapid. Wonderful. But at least a few more spots are available for people who can barely play chess. I forgot you said that. The one perfectly simple knockout tournament being ruined by Swiss randomness. These people cannot be trusted with anything. And then, yeah, someone commenting about a Gotham chess thing. Okay, so let me now give you my honest opinion after reading all of it and then just, getting it all around my head. Currently going on is the FIFA World Cup. And how it is played is they've got a group stage, and then from there you qualify to the knockouts, and then the knockouts is a straight competition. For me, this isn't so strange, because what you're effectively going to have is, like in the FIFA World Cup, you're going to have your group, you qualify out of your group, and then you get into the knockout stages. So I'm happy with that. I understand that principle. Obviously, chess is a bit more complicated than football. It's not like in football you only play like 60 minutes, and then for the remainder of the tournament you play 90 minutes. Chess, not keeping the same time control, I think, is really difficult, particularly for players to adapt. And what might happen is that the shorter time control generally lends itself to more results, whereas the longer time control players generally have time to figure things out and make draws. So again, if you want to produce results in a Swiss-style system, that's fine, but it's a Swiss-style system, so players know they have to win. I don't think I'm completely upset about the change. It is a bit interesting. They've gone about it in a very interesting manner. It does have similarities to like a football tournament where you've got your group stages and you go into knockouts. A lot of international tournaments follow this for their World Cups. FIFA World Cup does it. Cricket World Cup has something similar, generally speaking, like T20 World Cups and so on. That's another sport that I have. In case you haven't seen cricket back there, or on, behind Steve, there's a man playing cricket, in case you haven't picked that up, one of the other sports I enjoy. So the format is kind of borrowing from that. So I don't know if that was their inspiration, but it makes sense to me to think of it like that. Not wholly convinced on the time control. 45 minutes is quite short. Just 60 plus 30 is right there, man, or 60 plus 5. 55 plus 5 is not a really long time control considering what I've played. I just think it should be standard across the whole tournament. And what was their main goal in doing this? Was it to expand the tournament while keeping the duration shorter? I'm not going to complain about a shorter duration, particularly when you're a content creator and you've got to create content around the same tournament for a month. The last World Cup nearly drove me insane. So did the FIDE Grand Swiss, but it's a considerably shorter tournament, where you're just making content about the same thing for weeks, and it's not The World Cup is really exciting, and there are lots of cool games and there are lots of cool storylines, but it's still not the same importance as the World Championship, which I'm more okay with going like 3 weeks because it is the most prestigious title in chess, whereas the World Cup in chess, it's not the same as in other sports where the World Cup is the most prestigious thing you can achieve. That is the thing that chess is having a problem with at the moment. We've got a classical world champion, a rapid world champion, a blitz world champion. We're now going to have a total chess world champion. We've got a FIDE freestyle chess world champion. We have women's editions of all of those 5. Plus, we have a World Cup champion, who's not the champion of the world, by the way. He just qualifies to play for the other world championship. And by the way, by winning that world championship or qualifying for that world championship, he's now playing for another world championship. And then we get 100 players at the end of the year to go play for other world championships that are really short. So, FIDE are not doing themselves any favors there. Look, people aren't happy about this, but we'll see what happens. It's still, I assume, going to be a pathway to qualifying for the candidates. So some of the big names will be involved, and while they're involved in this type of tournament, it is going to be prestigious, and there are going to be storylines and awesome chess games, and that's all we want to see, realistically. And if you look at the last World Cup, it was played knockouts, but all the favorites got knocked out anyway. So you talk about Swiss randomness, anything can happen in a knockout competition. If you look, again, drawing from football, at something like the FA Cup, or the DFB Pokal, or, what's the French one? No, it's not, is it the Coupe de France? I can't remember. Any knockout competition will produce upsets. That can happen in a Swiss-style bracket, where you get someone who's not highly rated, but he had a really good run, he got drawn against some, not necessarily random guys, but he got a favorable draw or something, and he gets through. And that can be really interesting. It will be, I'm sure they'll come out with the official regulations, but when you're doing those pools and the top 4 are qualifying, what happens if you get 6 players who are tied for 4th? Are you going to go with traditional chess tiebreaks, in which case people are going to be very mad? Or are you going to have a little tiebreak game mini tournament between those 6 players to determine who gets the spot to get through to the knockouts? And that can take like a day to resolve. So FIDE has to think this through. They've obviously thought about this and brought in a lot of changes. They're shortening the duration. They're increasing the prize money, but remember the prize money should be going up because there's more players. And they're giving guaranteed prize money to everybody. So, if you're walking away there with $100 for finishing dead last, I don't know what we're going to do. Particularly because depending where they hosted, it can be quite expensive depending on where you're traveling from and where you're traveling to. But let me know in the comments. I've rambled enough now. What do you think about the changes for the FIDE World Cup for 2027? It will be next year. The current World Cup champion is Jokifar Sendarov. He could be the world champion by the time this happens. But we do know a couple of things. Probably whoever wins this World Cup will qualify for the candidates, and by winning the World Cup, they'll qualify for the Total Chess World Championship, and I believe the Total Chess World Championship winner from this year will qualify for this World Cup. That was a lot of talking. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed the video. Until next time, cheers.